Animals are amazing. They have the ability to make us happy, whether it's your dog who's so thrilled to see you, or your cat, which makes you feel special when it condescends to curl up on your lap. But the ability of animals to be of invaluable help to us in our lives is also well documented. Think of the independence a guide dog brings a blind person, for example, or a disabled person when they're trying to help them carry out day-to-day tasks. Horses have this ability too. Evie Connolly is with Greenway Equestrian. She's a mental health therapist and therapeutic riding coach, and she sees firsthand the benefits horse riding and just being around horses can bring to people. Evie, good morning.
Good morning, Maria.
What makes horses such good therapists?
Well, I think horses are herd animals. So the horse's predisposition is to be there to protect the herd. And in so doing, when they welcome you into their space, they're welcoming you into their herd. So for them, in order to ensure the survival of the herd, they need to ensure that you're safe and protected. So they're open to developing a relationship with somebody who's working with them, and it only improves.
And can all horses do this, or do you have to pick a particular? I mean, I remember when I was learning how to ride years ago, they had this horse that they used to call a schoolmaster. I don't know if they still have that, but it was kind of a horse who knew you were a beginner, and wasn't going to get all hysterical if you did anything wrong.
That's true. I think some are more predisposed to being, as you say, schoolmasters and therapists than others. And when we're kind of choosing horses that we feel are beneficial for therapeutic riding, we will kind of look at that and assess that. So certainly, obviously, they're all herd animals, but some are more hot-blooded than others. So we like to ensure, given we're working with people, say, with additional needs, we need to make sure that the horses that we choose are soft-natured and quiet, and often they can be that little bit older and more experienced. So they've done the rounds a couple of times. They know what's expected of them. And so we do kind of get a lot of schoolmasters. We might get kind of former riding school horses, and so they're assessed, and then we work with them and we school them and train them so that they're ready to work with that person.
Tell me the whole process then. So I come to you. Is it all children or is it adults as well?
Both, Maria. It's actually all. We work with people from the ages of 3 all the way up to people that are semi-retired and even in nursing homes. Obviously, the needs will vary depending upon the group we're working with. We might meet. We often, if somebody calls and is inquiring about therapeutic riding, we invite them out to the stables to meet the horses and to get a sense of the environment. And then if we feel this is something they'd like to proceed with and move forward with, we do a little assessment to determine where that person may need support, if they need support. Sometimes it's just time out from the hustle and bustle and stress of life. We're all inclusive, so we don't just particularly focus on people with additional needs. We work with everybody. So we determine what that person needs, and we make a little plan together, and we do a session. We do what's called a session plan, and then we work from that each week. We develop it. So it could be things like somebody may say somebody's on the spectrum. They may on the autistic spectrum, they may have sensory needs. They may need extra sort of sensory feedback, which the horse can facilitate. Maybe for somebody, say, who's living with Down syndrome, it could be the development of core muscle strength. So, so we make an assessment and we move forward from there with that.
And how do you see the benefits then? I mean, I presume with somebody, say, with autism, that do you have to have the same horse all the time because routine would be important? Are those the kind of things that you have to take note of?
Yeah, definitely. We have some people have favourites, and some horses are better, with working with somebody with a certain condition than say others might be. And the benefits are massive. I mean, therapeutic riding impacts on different systems of the body. It helps to regulate and stabilise them. Just the rhythmical motion of the horse alone closely simulates a person's walking gait. So even with all the technological advances in the field of physical therapy, no one has been able to replicate this movement on a machine. So participants may experience improvement in, say, muscle strength, flexibility, balance, coordination, rhythm, timing, awareness. I mean, the list is actually, it goes on, and this cognitive support as well. you have to focus on what you're doing. So it's encouraging somebody to focus, especially if they may have behavioural problems or attention span issues. Emotional support. There's a trust that develops between the horse and rider. And so you can see an increase in self-confidence, self-awareness, mood regulation. And then again, it's a therapy, it's a social therapy. So you're learning so much and you're being healed on so many levels without you being in a clinical setting. It's taking a lot of the therapeutic support out of the clinical setting. And I suppose that was my primary goal in going down the road of becoming a therapeutic riding coach, because my background is social work. And I noticed that a lot of people's experiences of therapeutic support tended to be in the clinical setting, which means that it was happening outside of the natural environment. So my goal was to seek to provide a support within that environment with the assistance of animals and nature, and to incorporate a tranquil environment, calming sounds, peacefulness, all the things that naturally encourage learning and healing.
That we kind of forget are so important. Yeah. We always think there must be some tablet I could take, or I'll go to some office and they'll do some treatment on me, and we forget that nature is such a good doctor.
It is. I definitely think, Marie, there's definitely a move in that direction. There's definitely a move out of the clinical settings, out of the daycare centres, towards reconnecting with nature. And probably now it's more important than ever, because obviously so many people experienced a lockdown over the past couple of years and they lost that contact. So in the past, a lot of the referrals to my service might have been sensory issues and people with physical disabilities, whereas now I'm getting a lot of people looking for emotional supports, and especially kind of young teens. That seems to be a big cohort at the moment, looking for emotional support, because I suppose they lost that contact with the wider environment over the past couple of years.
And I suppose, like all animals, horses aren't judgmental.
Yeah.
You know, you can just show up, and if you're nice to the horse, that's fine. You know, and I presume the horses that you have would all be calm in nature for that reason. How do you train to become a therapist like yourself? Like, where do you go, and what made you decide that you wanted to do it? I presume you had a background in horses as well as social care.
Yeah, I did. I grew up on a farm, so I had a kind of a background in horses and farming, and I went on then to study social work. And I practiced social work. I worked with in a community setting in the southeast, and I worked in mental health and disability. But in the back of my head was always this feeling that we needed to take, like I was saying, we needed to take a lot of therapeutic supports and emotional supports out of the clinical setting, which they've traditionally been in, and out into the community. So I kind of married together my two experiences, and I had to look, and I inquired, and I learned about this amazing program course that I undertook over a year and a half in Festina Lente. It's a centre in Wicklow. It's an all-inclusive therapeutic support centre. They provide therapeutic horse riding, nature therapy, lots of horticultural programs. And what I found amazing was a lot of the people that may have gone there initially to seek support, therapeutic support, subsequently came on board to assist as either working there or as volunteers there. And I really loved that concept of it all, again, just being all inclusive. So that was kind of my goal. I was very excited. I did that course, and then I had stables at home in Kilmeaden. I did a livery there. So I introduced therapeutic riding into that setting, and thankfully we're on the Greenway, we're in Kilmeaden, so we're perfectly located, which is just a blessing. And we sometimes we get passing traffic, or we have people inquiring. So so that was maybe 3 years ago that I started the therapeutic riding itself, and it's just developed from there, and the word is getting out, and I'm getting lots of inquiries now. So
that's brilliant,
wonderful,
though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's brilliant that you can make a living at doing something you love.
Yeah. I know,
it's fantastic, and it's
so
doing
grateful.
good for people.
And what's amazing, Marie, is that it's so rewarding as a practitioner as well to see the benefits, because we love because it's all inclusive, we all work together. And I have young people that may have come to me with issues, be it confidence issues or sensory development issues or whatever the situation was, and some of them are now helping in the arts, so their confidence has grown to that degree. There's one moving story, I must say. It's a young girl who comes to me who gets drop seizures, So we have to be, we're always with her to ensure she's supported when she's on the horse. We have like walkers with her, and she's a natural horsewoman. She's wonderful. But we thought it was just interesting timing when it happened first. But she was walking a mare, and just before she was about to drop, before she even physically looked like she was about to drop, the mare put her head and neck around the girl's tummy to cushion her fall. And we thought first of all, maybe it was just interesting timing. No. But then we actually started to see it happen repeatedly, that when she was about to have a drop seizure, the mare knew, she sensed it, whatever this sixth sense they have is or whatever, she put her head and neck around the girl's tummy and just cushioned her fall. So that's very moving and to see that.
I'm listening to it now. I'm filling up here, but it answers one of the questions I was going to ask you, and that is, do the horses know who they're dealing with? Like, would that mare be different when she's around you?
She would be. It's amazing, and horses have their favourites too, which is interesting. They do. It's a strange thing. There's another language, and they seem to be able to tune into that language. And I think that's probably why people often on the spectrum, they have a different way of communicating. And horses seem to naturally seek that out and seek to understand it and respond appropriately. And it's very moving to watch that. And I guess, again, that comes down to the herd instinct. The horse needs to know, they need to feel safe and needs to understand who's around them. So I suppose they have a natural desire to tune into the person. And that's amazing. That gives amazing confidence to the person too, and that they can feel the benefits of that, like,
that's
emotionally.
Absolutely fantastic. I'm sure you know the story, which always makes me cry whenever I see it, about the horse that goes into the hospitals to the dying people. I can't think of the horse's name now, but like, just to explain to people who mightn't be aware of what I'm talking about, I think it's in France. Is the horse in France?
I know there's one in France or Italy. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's somewhere in Europe.
And I think his person, like the person who accompanies him, is speaks French anyway. That's all I know. But he goes into the wards in the hospitals. I think there might be hospices or something. Yeah. But the horse chooses who he's going to go to. Now, this is a big horse, gorgeous looking animal. And he goes in and he's so gentle with the people that he's looking at. And he just chooses, the handler doesn't say, you're going to talk to this person today. He just goes into the ward and he decides, that person needs me today. That's what it looks like anyway. And he's so gentle, just going to the person and just standing there and being with them. And the joy in the people's faces when they see this animal. And I suppose you must get a sense of warmth from them or something.
Yeah, it's amazing, because it's a lovely, you're absolutely right. It's beautiful. It's wonderful to be working in that space and to be a witness to that healing and to that connection. That's developing. It's and to witness just the feedback from the person who's receiving that loving healing from the animal. I think I genuinely think we're only tipping the surface of the potential there is for therapeutic support. For nature therapy and animal therapy. I think we're just beginning that journey, really.
I think sometimes you'd wonder, have we got it right? Are we really top of the food chain?
I know.
Because we seem to have forgotten so many of the senses that we should have, because our minds are filled with all sorts of other crap.
Yeah.
Whereas animals, like, dogs are the best people watchers in the world. Like, they just watch people all the time. Horses, they're so strong, they could wreak havoc if they wanted to, but they can be so gentle and so kind and soft. And like, all animals seem to have this innate ability that we should be ashamed of ourselves that we don't have.
They're our teachers, aren't they?
Yeah.
On so many levels. They bring us back. They have us connect with our hearts again. It's without getting too fluffy, there's a spiritual journey involved with it too, and it's lovely to see that and to feel that, because there's like I was saying, there's an unspoken communication there, and horses want they want to share in that relationship with you, and they're open to it, and it's just about us, just like you say, parking all the stress and the chaos and all the associated with day-to-day living, and move into a healing space